Hey, hi, Sue Moore here, recovered banker and founder of the Moore Connection, where I help people create the lifestyle they desire while building a thriving home-based business. Today we're going to talk about goals and how you hit them, or do you hit them? This is always a subject that sometimes for people it gets a little bit queasy. I was just writing down some notes here, so I got them all spread all over the paper, but let's just kind of imagine a few things. Maybe you are struggling with growing your business as fast as you would like to grow it. Or maybe you're stressing over the fact that for 6 months you've been talking about losing weight and the holidays are coming up. Or maybe you wanted to hit a certain financial goal by the first part of October so that you could quit your job and really start, busting it in your home-based business. And maybe those aren't your three things, but just as an example, oddly enough, the answer to hitting all those goals is the exact same thing. 3 different areas, but the way to hit your goals is the exact same for all 3. And there really is no secret sauce, and it's an old banking term. What gets tracked gets measured, and what gets measured will produce what the results are, whether they're really what you wanted, more than what you wanted, or less than what you wanted. So what's important here is consistency is the key, and without measuring your progress, it is very easy to get off course. Let me give you an example about losing weight. Both my husband and I have done Weight Watchers on and off for a lot of time, many years, and what's interesting is that he tracks his what he's doing daily, and I kind of eyeball it and put it in my head. And it took me a while to figure out, tracking does make the difference. And so now when we get back on Weight Watchers, we've got it on our app. When we go to the store, we can use the little barcode to find out, exactly how many points I'm using on whatever it is I'm holding in my hand. And so again, a perfect example of what gets tracked, gets measured, and you can see results from that. So let's relate that to growing your business. There are a couple of things that we do every day, and if I don't do all of them every day, I do it 4 or 5 days of the week, let's put it that way, so a little leeway there. But one of the first things I do is I always track subscribers to my email list. And that's really kind of easy because the system we use does that for me, really. But I can see who signed in or signed up and who unsubscribed. And depending on what that is, I have an opportunity to either go back to them or just let it go. Many of the people that I reach out to are bankers, and I find that when you don't have a personal email and you're sending an email to a business address, many times those emails end up in spam. So that's why I like to make a determination as to, was it the corporation's systems that unsubscribed it or not? So that's part of what I like to do, is tracking the email list. And then the other thing I think is important is I track and have several different spreadsheets on how many people I prospect every day. Now, prospecting isn't, back it this way. Prospecting is the number of people who have agreed to look at your company presentation or have a 3-way conference call or really sit down and talk about the business. It does not include posting something on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. That's more marketing. Prospecting is people who you actually have a conversation with. And so you can tell if your business is not growing the way you would like it to, and you just peel back and look at the numbers of people that you actually prospected, you can see if there are some weeks when I'm better than others, then I've got more results to show for it. So there's nothing magical here. It just makes perfect sense. So if you want to grow your business faster, just do a couple of things. So as I said, how many people view your presentation, whatever that is for your company, on a regular basis? It could be something as simple as asking 3 people and seeing that 3 people would look at your presentation during a week. If you did that every week for 4 weeks, you'd have a dozen people who have looked at your presentation, and out of that you probably will have 1 or 2 people that are interested in having a second conversation. So, and then the more you ratchet up that number from 3 maybe to 4, let's just say, obviously the results are get a little bit bigger. So, and then I always like to track the number of people that I talk to about the business, and that might sound like the first thing I just said, but it really isn't. This is when you're out networking or just lifestyle marketing, and you get chatting with somebody and they ask you about what you're doing and you ask them about what they're doing, and so forth. It's a nice conversation. It's a way to get yourself out there and so forth, but it doesn't really count for prospecting. But it's important to know how many of those people you're talking to every business day, and then in some way, shape, or form incorporate that into a follow-up list, should you be able to get some kind of follow-up information. I've said before, and I would say it again, I would make sure I always get a cell number and always get a personal email. Those are the 2 best, because you can avoid whatever the corporation or the business that they are currently working in, and getting through them. So anyway, so that's that. Now, and then just actually track it. And it doesn't have to be big numbers, and it doesn't have to be sophisticated. It can be just a real simple Excel spreadsheet, and write it down and check it at the end of the day or check it at the end of the week. If you do that, just track it. As I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be, something, wildly sophisticated. But you will see that things will begin to change. What I really get a chuckle out of when people say, well, I don't really like the home-based business because I did this, this, and this, and it just doesn't work. And the reality is, if you did this, this, and this on a consistent basis, it does work. And so the question really is, are you doing the work? And, some of us do and some of us don't. So that's really what's going on here. So I hope that helped in some way, shape, or form. And if you'd like to learn more about specifically how I do things, what apps I use, and so forth, please feel free to contact me. I blog over at suemore.net, and my email address is smore71@att.net. And hope you enjoyed this, got some value out of it. If you did, please let me know. And I'd actually, what I'd like for you to do is, if you are tracking or have never tracked, please reach out to me. I'd love, because I was one that didn't want to track. Remember the Weight Watcher story? And then when I did, I realized, this stuff works, tracking works. So if you're like me, reach out and I will help you get yourself going, okay? Great. Talk to you soon. See you on the next video. Journey well. Bye-bye.